What is the sweetest revenge you have ever tasted? I nearly choked on my overpriced oat milk latte when I saw his name in my LinkedIn notifications. Marcus Chen. The same Marcus who'd gaslit me for 8 months, cheated with his just-a-friend coworker, and then convinced half our social circle that I was an unhinged psycho when I dared to call him out on it. 2 years of therapy and a promotion later, here he was, requesting to connect like we were old college buddies. My finger hovered over the ignore button, but something made me click on his profile instead. Maybe it was masochistic curiosity, or maybe I just wanted to see if karma had finally caught up with him. What I found made my blood run cold, then scalding hot. Senior software engineer at Nexus Dynamics. Lead developer at TechFlow Solutions before that. Full-stack wizard with expertise in Python, JavaScript, and machine learning. Computer science degree from UC Berkeley, class of 2018. I stared at my laptop screen in my cramped Mission District apartment, reading it 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinizing. Marcus had a business degree from San Francisco State. I knew because I'd helped him study for his senior capstone on marketing strategies. The man could barely figure out how to update his iPhone, let alone code in Python. Are you seeing this? I called out to my roommate Priya, who was making her infamous Sunday morning pancakes that could wake the dead with their smell. Seeing what? Marcus finally got arrested for being a professional douchebag? Close. He's been lying about having a computer science degree. Look at this job history, he's been faking his way through tech companies for 2 years. Priya appeared behind me, syrup-covered spatula still in hand. Holy shit, Emma. That's like actual fraud. Companies pay serious money for those skills. I scrolled through his recent posts. Photos from TechFlow's company retreat in Tahoe. Marcus grinning next to a whiteboard covered in code that I was now certain he couldn't read, let alone write. A humble brag post about debugging complex algorithms until 3 a.m. because that's what passionate developers do. The comments were full of colleagues praising his dedication. My stomach twisted. While I'd been clawing my way back from the emotional wreckage of our relationship, working 60-hour weeks to prove myself at DataBridge Solutions, he'd been building a career on complete lies. Making probably twice my salary while I scraped together rent in this shoebox apartment. Then I saw it. A post from 3 days ago that made my hands shake. Excited to interview with Quantum Dynamics next week. Always dreamed of working for the most innovative AI company in the Valley. Wish me luck. Crossed fingers #TechLife #AI developer #dreamjob. Quantum Dynamics. The company I'd been trying to get into for 18 months. The place where my mentor from coding bootcamp, Sarah Martinez, was now a senior hiring manager. The job I'd applied for twice and gotten rejected from both times despite my legitimate skills and portfolio. I screenshot his profile and set my phone down with trembling fingers. Marcus was about to interview at my dream company, armed with fake credentials and stolen valor, while I was still grinding it out at a mid-tier startup that barely covered my student loans. You look like you're about to murder someone or throw up. Maybe both. I looked up at Priya, who was now holding 2 plates of pancakes and wearing the expression she reserved for when I was about to make questionable life choices. I have Sarah's direct email, I said quietly. Emma, no. Priya set the plates down hard enough to make the ceramic clink against my desk. I can see those wheels turning and they're heading straight toward Crazy Town. This isn't crazy, I said, but my voice came out higher than intended. This is justice. He's literally committing fraud, Priya. Do you know what the average salary is for a senior software engineer at Nexus Dynamics? $180,000 base, plus equity. He's been stealing that money from companies who think they're hiring someone with actual skills. And what happens when they figure out he can't code? He gets fired. Problem solved without you getting involved. I pulled up Marcus's work history again, my jaw clenching as I read through his fabricated accomplishments. But what if he doesn't get fired? What if he's good enough at bullshitting that he keeps getting promoted? What if he gets my job at Quantum Dynamics? The thought made my chest tight. I'd been coding for 3 years now, ever since I pivoted from my dead-end marketing job after our breakup. Spent $15,000 on a bootcamp I was still paying off. Worked weekends building portfolio projects while Marcus was probably charming his way through stand-up meetings about code he couldn't write. Besides, I continued, opening my laptop's email client. Sarah asked me last month if I knew any good Python developers who might be interested in their new AI ethics team. I'm just providing information about a candidate she should know about. You're rationalizing. Priya sat down across from me, her dark eyes serious. Look, Marcus is a piece of shit. We both know this. But what you're talking about doing? What am I talking about doing? Telling the truth? You're talking about nuking his entire career because you're still angry about what happened between you two. The words hit harder than I expected. I closed the laptop and picked at my pancakes, which had gone cold. You think I'm being vindictive. I think you're being human. But Emma, you've worked so hard to rebuild after all his gaslighting bullshit. You're finally in therapy, you got promoted to senior analyst, you've been dating again. Barely dating. And you're genuinely happy for the first time since I've known you. Don't let him drag you back into his mess. I wanted to argue, but she wasn't wrong. The last 2 years had been about putting myself back together after Marcus had systematically convinced me I was paranoid, jealous, and unstable. Even after I found the text between him and Jessica, he'd managed to flip it around, telling our friends that I'd invaded his privacy and was obsessively trying to control him. My phone buzzed. A text from my coworker Jake, Coffee Monday? Want to hear about your interview with Quantum. Sarah Martinez said she might have something perfect for you. I stared at the message. Wait. Sarah wants to talk to me about a position? See? Priya pointed her fork at me. Good things are happening for you without having to destroy anyone else. Maybe just let this one go? But I couldn't stop thinking about Marcus's smug face in those company photos. All those congratulatory comments from colleagues who had no idea they were praising a complete fraud. The LinkedIn post where he'd humble-bragged about mentoring junior developers when he probably couldn't debug a Hello World program. I opened my laptop again and stared at the new email composition window, Sarah's address already filled in the to field. The cursor blinked in the subject line, waiting. I closed the laptop without typing anything and tried to focus on my pancakes, but my phone kept buzzing with notifications. Marcus was getting likes and comments on his quantum dynamics post, each notification feeling like a small slap. Former colleagues wishing him luck. Jessica, yes, that Jessica, commenting with a fire emoji and "you've got this, babe." "Oh, you have got to be kidding me," I muttered, showing Priya the screen. "They're still together?" "Apparently. And apparently she's fine with dating someone whose entire career is built on lies." I scrolled through more of Jessica's recent posts. Designer handbag hauls, vacation photos from Cabo, a new BMW with the caption, "When your man treats you right, 2 hearts. All funded by Marcus's fraudulent salary, no doubt. My laptop chimed with a new email. Sarah Martinez. Asterisk Emma, hope you're well. Jake mentioned you might be interested in hearing about our new senior developer position on the AI ethics team. It's exactly the kind of role we discussed, Python heavy, machine learning focus, but with real social impact. Want to grab coffee this week? I think you'd be perfect for it. Sarah asterisk. I read it twice, my heart racing. This was it. This was the opportunity I'd been working toward for 3 years. A legitimate shot at my dream job, earned through actual skills and hard work. But then I looked back at Marcus's post about his interview. What if he got there first? What if his fake credentials and natural charm won over the hiring team before Sarah even had a chance to consider me? Good news? Priya asked, noticing my expression. Sarah wants to meet about a senior developer position. The AI ethics team. Emma, that's amazing. See? You don't need to. Marcus's interview is next week. Mine probably won't be for another 2 weeks, assuming I even get one. I pulled up Quantum Dynamics hiring page. Look at this job description. Minimum 3 years Python experience, machine learning expertise, experience with neural networks. Marcus has been claiming 5 years of experience with all of this stuff. But you actually have the skills. Do I, though? The familiar voice of self-doubt crept in, the same voice Marcus had fed for 8 months. I've been coding for 3 years, but most of that was at DataBridge working on basic data analysis. My machine learning experience is mostly personal projects and online courses. On paper, his fake resume looks way better than my real one. I opened Marcus's LinkedIn again, hating myself for it. His skills section was a masterpiece of fiction, TensorFlow, PyTorch, advanced algorithms, distributed systems architecture. Technologies I was still learning on nights and weekends while he was probably out spending his inflated salary on Jessica's designer bags. Besides, I continued, what if this isn't just about me? What if there are other qualified candidates, women, people of color, people who actually deserve these opportunities, who are getting passed over because companies are hiring frauds like Marcus instead? Priya gave me a look. Now you're making this about social justice? It is about social justice. The tech industry already has massive problems with fake it till you make it culture and unqualified people getting promoted while the rest of us. Emma. Priya's voice was gentle but firm. Listen to yourself. You're spiraling. She was right. I could feel it happening, that familiar tightness in my chest, the racing thoughts, the way every injustice suddenly felt personal and urgent. It was exactly the kind of behavior Marcus used to call unhinged and obsessive. But what if this time I wasn't being crazy? What if this was actually the right thing to do? My phone buzzed again. Another comment on Marcus's post, this one from someone at Quantum Dynamics, looking forward to meeting you next Tuesday. The team is excited to see your portfolio. Next Tuesday. 5 days from now. I opened my laptop and started typing. Subject, regarding Marcus Chen, candidate for senior developer position. Hi Sarah. Asterisk, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to reach out about something that might be relevant to Quantum Dynamics hiring process. I recently discovered that Marcus Chen, who I believe is interviewing for a position next Tuesday, has been misrepresenting his educational background and technical experience on his resume asterisk. Asterisk Marcus actually has a business degree from SF State, not a computer science degree from UC Berkeley as listed on his LinkedIn. I know this because we dated for several months in 2021, and I helped him with his business capstone project. His technical experience appears to be fabricated as well, he had no coding background when I knew him asterisk. Asterisk I understand this puts you in a difficult position, and I want to be clear that I'm not sharing this information lightly. However, given the seniority of the role he's applying for and the potential impact on your team, I felt it was important for you to have accurate information asterisk. Asterisk I'm happy to discuss this further if you have questions. I look forward to our coffee meeting about the AI ethics position asterisk. Asterisk best regards. Emma asterisk. I read it 12 times, my cursor hovering over the send button. My hands were actually shaking. This is insane, I whispered to my empty apartment. Priya had left for her yoga class an hour ago, and I'd been sitting here crafting and recrafting this email like some kind of revenge manifesto. The rational part of my brain kept screaming that this was exactly the kind of behavior that had made Marcus call me unstable. Checking up on ex-boyfriends, inserting myself into situations that weren't my business, letting my emotions drive my decisions. But the louder voice insisted this was different. This wasn't about our relationship anymore. This was about protecting a company I respected from making a $180,000 mistake. My phone rang, making me jump. Unknown number with a 415 area code. Hello? Emma Rodriguez? This is Tom Chen from Berkeley's Alumni Verification Office. We received a request to verify degree information for Marcus Chen, and your name was listed as a reference contact. Do you have a few minutes? My heart stopped. I'm sorry, what? Marcus Chen listed you as someone who could verify his attendance at UC Berkeley from 2014 to 2018. We're conducting verification for a potential employer. Were you classmates? The audacity was breathtaking. He'd actually listed me as a reference for his fake degree, probably banking on the fact that I'd never find out about it. No, I said slowly. Marcus didn't attend UC Berkeley. He went to San Francisco State University and got a business degree in 2019. Silence on the other end. Are you certain about this, Ms. Rodriguez? Completely certain. I dated him during his senior year. I have photos from his SF State graduation. I see. Well, this is unusual. We'll make a note in our records. Thank you for your time. He hung up, leaving me staring at my phone. Marcus hadn't just lied to potential employers, he'd committed verification fraud by using me as a fake reference. The sheer arrogance of it made my vision blur with rage. I looked back at my unsent email to Sarah. Suddenly it felt inadequate. Too polite. Too measured. Before I could second-guess myself, I hit send. The little swoosh sound felt like jumping off a cliff. Immediately, my stomach dropped. What had I just done? I'd potentially destroyed someone's career based on a 2-year-old grudge. What if I was wrong about his technical skills? What if he'd actually learned to code in the past 2 years? But then I remembered the verification call. Marcus had literally used my name to perpetuate his fraud, dragging me into his lies without my knowledge or consent. He'd made this personal the moment he decided I was a safe reference for his fake credentials. My laptop chimed with a response from Sarah. Already. *Gamma, thanks for bringing this to my attention. This is definitely concerning. Would it be possible to speak by phone this afternoon? I'd like to discuss this further before Tuesday's interview. Also, can you send me any documentation you might have about his actual educational background? *. The coffee meeting about your potential role still stands, let's keep that separate from this situation. Best, Sarah. My phone was already ringing again. Sarah's name on the caller ID. Hi Sarah, I answered, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Emma, I'm glad you reached out. I have to ask, is there any chance this could be a case of mistaken identity? Maybe a different Marcus Chen? No, it's definitely him. I can send you his SF State graduation photos if you need them. And Sarah, there's something else. UC Berkeley's alumni office just called me. Apparently he listed me as a reference to verify his fake degree. The silence stretched long enough that I wondered if the call had dropped. Jesus, Sarah finally said. Okay, this is way beyond resume embellishment. Emma, I need to ask, and please be honest with me, is there any personal history between you two that I should know about? Here it was. The moment where I either came clean or let her think I was just a concerned citizen looking out for corporate America. We dated for about 8 months, 2 years ago. It ended badly. I took a breath. I want to be transparent about that, but Sarah, the verification fraud happened today. He used my name without permission to perpetuate a lie. This isn't just about our past. I appreciate your honesty. And you're right, using someone as an unauthorized reference for a fake degree is serious business. I heard typing in the background. I'm going to need to escalate this to our legal team before Tuesday's interview. Can you email me those graduation photos and any other documentation you have? After hanging up, I sat in my quiet apartment, feeling simultaneously vindicated and terrified. There was no taking this back now. By tomorrow morning, Marcus's interview would probably be cancelled, and his current job would likely be under investigation. I'd finally gotten my revenge. So why did I feel like I was about to throw up? The next morning hit me like a freight train made of regret and espresso. I barely slept, replaying every word of my conversation with Sarah, wondering if I'd just nuked my own career along with Marcus's. At 6:47 a.m., my phone started buzzing with a call from an unknown number. Emma Rodriguez? The voice was crisp, professional, and completely unfamiliar. Speaking. This is Jennifer Walsh from Nexus Dynamics HR department. I understand you have information regarding one of our employees, Marcus Chen? My stomach dropped to somewhere around my ankles. How did you get my number? Mr. Chen provided it to UC Berkeley as a reference contact. When they flagged discrepancies in his educational background, the verification company contacted us directly. We take degree fraud very seriously, Ms. Rodriguez. Of course. The dominoes were falling faster than I'd anticipated. Marcus's current employer now knew about his fake credentials, which meant his $180,000 salary was probably about to evaporate along with his fake resume. Ms. Rodriguez? Are you there? Yes, sorry. What exactly do you need from me? We're conducting an internal investigation and would appreciate any documentation you can provide regarding Mr. Chen's actual educational background. We understand you were personally acquainted during his time at San Francisco State? The way she said personally acquainted made it sound vaguely scandalous. We dated briefly while he was finishing his business degree in 2019. I see. And you're certain about the timeline and degree type? Completely certain. I have photos from his graduation ceremony, and I helped him with his senior capstone project on social media marketing strategies. More typing. We may need you to provide a formal statement. Mr. Chen has been leading our machine learning initiatives for 8 months. If his technical qualifications were misrepresented, we're looking at potential client contract violations worth several million dollars. Several million dollars. The weight of what I'd set in motion crashed over me like a tsunami. This wasn't just about Marcus getting fired, entire projects, client relationships, maybe even other people's jobs were now at stake. After hanging up, I immediately called Priya. It's not even 7 a.m. Did someone die? I think I might have just destroyed multiple companies. The words tumbled out in a rush, the verification call, Sarah's escalation to legal, and now Nexus Dynamics launching a full investigation. Holy shit, Priya breathed. Okay, but wait. This isn't your fault. Marcus is the one who built his career on lies. You just lit a match. That's not exactly making me feel better. Look, meet me at Ritual Coffee in 20 minutes. We need to figure out if you need a lawyer. A lawyer. I hadn't even considered that possibility. What if Marcus tried to sue me for defamation? What if the companies decided I was somehow complicit in his fraud since I dated him? I was spiraling again, but this time it felt justified. 25 minutes later, I found Priya at her usual corner table, 2 large coffees and a concerned expression waiting for me. Okay, she said before I'd even sat down, I've been thinking. What exactly did you tell these people? The truth. That he went to SF State, got a business degree, and couldn't code when I knew him. And you have proof of all that? Photos, texts, probably some old emails. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through old pictures. Here, graduation day, May 2019. Him in cap and gown with his business school friends. Priya examined the photo. This is solid evidence, M. You're not making accusations, you're providing facts that these companies needed to know. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Asterisk, we need to talk. This is insane. Call me, asterisk. Marcus. He found out, I whispered, showing Priya the screen. Don't respond. Not yet. She grabbed my phone and set it face down on the table. Let him sweat while we figure out your next move. But even as she said it, my phone kept buzzing. Text after text, each one more desperate than the last. Asterisk, Emma, please. You're destroying my life over something that happened 2 years ago, asterisk. I know I hurt you, but this is beyond cruel. Asterisk, Jessica is pregnant. You're going to cost my kid their father's career, asterisk. That last one made me physically flinch. The pregnancy text hit me like a physical blow. I stared at my phone screen, rereading those words until they blurred. Asterisk, Jessica is pregnant. You're going to cost my kid their father's career, asterisk. That manipulative piece of shit, Priya said, reading over my shoulder. He's literally trying to guilt trip you with a hypothetical baby's future. What if it's not hypothetical? My voice came out smaller than I intended. What if she really is pregnant and I just... Emma. Stop. Priya grabbed both my hands across the table. Even if Jessica is pregnant, that doesn't change the fact that Marcus built his career on lies. You didn't force him to fake a computer science degree. You didn't make him list fake technical skills. This is on him. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call, not a text. Marcus's name flashing on the screen like a warning. Don't answer it, Priya said. But I was already swiping to accept. I needed to hear his voice, needed to gauge whether this pregnancy thing was real or just another manipulation tactic from his greatest hits collection. Emma, thank God. His voice was strained, desperate in a way I'd never heard before. Look, I know you're angry about how things ended between us, but this is going nuclear. Nexus put me on administrative leave this morning. They're talking about criminal fraud charges. Marcus, you literally used my name as a reference for a fake degree. You dragged me into your lies without my permission. I panicked, okay? I thought Berkeley would just rubber stamp the verification. I never thought they'd actually call you. The familiar sound of him deflecting responsibility made my jaw clench. So this is about you getting caught, not about the fact that you've been defrauding companies for 2 years. 2 years where I've been supporting Jessica, helping her through her master's program, and now, his voice cracked. She's 8 weeks pregnant, Emma. 8 weeks. We just found out yesterday. Something in his tone made me believe him. The timing was too convenient to be a complete lie, but Marcus had always been good at weaponizing truth when it served his purposes. Congratulations, I said flatly. But your personal life doesn't excuse fraud. I learned the skills on the job. Yeah, I embellished my background, but I've been doing good work at Nexus. Ask anyone on my team, the machine learning models I built have saved them millions in processing costs. You built machine learning models? Despite everything, I was genuinely curious. Marcus, 2 years ago you didn't know Python from a Python. I took boot camps, online courses, worked nights and weekends. I know I started with fake credentials, but I earned my place. He was talking faster now, words tumbling over each other. And now you're destroying all of that because you're still mad about Jessica. The accusation stung because part of it was true. Seeing him succeed while I struggled, watching him build a life with a woman he cheated with, it all played a role in my decision to contact Sarah. But the verification fraud was real. The fake degree was real. The companies he deceived were real. The UC Berkeley thing crossed a line, I said. Using my name without permission. I'll withdraw from the quantum interview. I'll come clean to Nexus about the degree. Just, please. Tell them you were mistaken about my technical skills. Tell them I actually could code when you knew me. You want me to lie? I want you to give me a chance to fix this before it destroys everything. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Jessica doesn't know about any of this yet. She thinks I'm at work right now, not sitting in my car outside her doctor's office trying to figure out how to tell her that our health insurance is about to disappear. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of unintended consequences crushing down on me. I'd wanted to expose Marcus's lies, not potentially harm a pregnant woman who might be completely innocent in all of this. Emma? Are you still there? I'm here. I looked across the table at Priya, who was shaking her head frantically. Marcus, I can't lie to these companies. But maybe there's another way to handle this. The silence stretched between us until Marcus spoke again, his voice barely audible through the phone. What kind of other way? I looked at Priya, who was making urgent cut-it-off gestures across the table. My coffee had gone cold, but I wrapped my hands around the mug anyway, needing something to anchor me. I don't know yet. But Marcus, I need you to understand something. I didn't do this just because of our history. You committed actual fraud. Multiple companies, fake degrees, fabricated references. That's not something I can just undo. The degree thing, yes, that was stupid. But Emma, I swear to you, I can do the work. The team at Nexus relies on the algorithms I built. The client retention model I developed last quarter increased their revenue by 12%. Despite myself, I found that impressive. You really taught yourself machine learning in 2 years? Nights, weekends, every spare moment. Do you know what imposter syndrome feels like when you're actually an imposter? I've been terrified every single day that someone would figure out I didn't belong there. So I worked twice as hard as everyone else to make sure I earned my place. Priya was frantically scribbling something on a napkin. Asterisk, don't get sucked back in. He's manipulating you, asterisk. But what if he wasn't? What if Marcus had actually transformed himself from the lazy, entitled guy I dated into someone who could legitimately do the job? The Marcus I knew could barely manage his own Netflix password, but people could change in 2 years. I certainly had. Even if that's true, I said, it doesn't change what you did to get those opportunities. How many qualified candidates got passed over because companies thought they were hiring someone with a Berkeley CS degree? I know. You're right. And I'll make it right, I promise. I'll withdraw from Quantum today and tell them exactly why. I'll work with Nexus to transition my projects to someone else. But please, Emma, is there any way you could tell them that while my degree was misrepresented, my technical abilities weren't completely fabricated? My phone buzzed with another call coming in. Sarah Martinez. Marcus, I have to go. Sarah's calling me. Please don't make this worse. Please. I hung up and immediately answered Sarah's call. Emma, we have a problem. Her voice was tense. Marcus Chen just called me directly. He withdrew his application and claimed you have a personal vendetta against him due to your romantic history. He's suggesting your allegations might be motivated by revenge rather than genuine concern. My blood ran cold. Of course he'd try to flip this around, make me look like the unstable ex-girlfriend. It was exactly what he'd done 2 years ago with our friend group. Sarah, everything I told you is documented. I have graduation photos. I can provide contact information for his actual classmates at SF State. I believe you, Emma. But this complicates things from a legal perspective. Our attorney is concerned about potential defamation claims if Chen decides to argue this was malicious interference. Malicious interference? My voice came out higher than intended, drawing stares from other coffee shop patrons. It's when someone intentionally disrupts business relationships. Look, I don't think you did anything wrong, but Chen's attorney, yes, he apparently already has one, is claiming you knew about his misrepresentations for years and only came forward when it served your personal interests. The walls felt like they were closing in. Not only had Marcus lawyered up in less than 24 hours, but he was building a case that painted me as the villain. Again. What does this mean for my potential position? I asked, dreading the answer. Sarah's pause told me everything I needed to know before she spoke. Emma, I'm sorry, but until this legal situation resolves, we can't move forward with your interview. The company can't risk appearing to reward someone who might be involved in vindictive accusations against job candidates. After she hung up, I stared at my phone in disbelief. In less than 48 hours, I'd managed to destroy Marcus's career, potentially harm a pregnant woman, expose myself to legal liability, and torpedo my own dream job. Priya's voice seemed to come from very far away. What did she say? Marcus won, I whispered. Even when he loses, he fucking wins. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. My hands were shaking as I pressed play. Ms. Rodriguez, this is Detective Kim Patel with the San Francisco Police Department's White Collar Crime Unit. We need to speak with you regarding Marcus Chen and potential wire fraud charges. Please call me back at your earliest convenience. Wire fraud. Federal charges. I sat on the edge of my bed in my pajamas, staring at my phone like it might explode. Before I could process what this meant, my phone rang again. Priya. Emma, are you seeing the news? What news? I just woke up to a call from the police about wire fraud. Check TechCrunch. Now. I fumbled for my laptop, my stomach already in freefall. The headline made me dizzy. Bay Area tech worker allegedly defrauded multiple companies with fake credentials, cost Nexus Dynamics $3.2 million in failed AI project. The article was brutal. It detailed how Marcus's machine learning model, the one he'd bragged about to me yesterday, had actually crashed Nexus's biggest client account last week. The 12% revenue increase he'd claimed was apparently a 12% revenue loss that the company had been scrambling to cover up. Holy shit, I breathed, scrolling through the details. Priya, his algorithm didn't work. It's been failing for months, and he's been covering it up with fake reports. Keep reading, Priya said grimly. The worst part came in the final paragraphs. Nexus wasn't just firing Marcus, they were pursuing criminal charges for the $3.2 million in losses and considering clawing back 2 years of his salary. The article mentioned that the investigation had started after a tip from someone familiar with Chen's educational background. My phone immediately started buzzing with notifications. LinkedIn messages, Facebook friend requests from journalists, Twitter mentions I didn't even know existed. Somehow, word was getting out that I was the whistleblower. Then I saw a message that made my blood freeze. From Jessica. Emma, I know what you did. Marcus told me everything. I'm 8 weeks pregnant and you just destroyed my family because you can't get over a breakup from 2 years ago. I hope you're proud of yourself, *. Attached was a photo of a positive pregnancy test dated 3 days ago. Jesus Christ, I whispered, showing Priya the message when she arrived at my apartment 20 minutes later with coffee and bagels I suddenly couldn't stomach. She's putting this all on you? What about her boyfriend who's been lying to her for 2 years about his entire career? Maybe she didn't know. I scrolled through Jessica's recent Instagram posts, looking for clues. Designer bags, expensive dinners, vacation photos from Cabo just last month. Or maybe she didn't want to know. My laptop chimed with a new email. From an address I didn't recognize, but the subject line made my heart stop. Legal notice, cease and desist. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. I opened it with trembling fingers. The letter was from Chen and Associates law firm, no relation to Marcus, apparently. It demanded I stop making false and defamatory statements about Marcus Chen, refrain from contacting his current or potential employers, and preserve all documents related to our malicious campaign of harassment. Malicious campaign? Priya read over my shoulder. You made 2 phone calls based on actual facts. Yeah, but look at this. I pointed to a paragraph midway through the letter. They're claiming I've been systematically stalking Marcus by monitoring his LinkedIn activity and lying in wait for opportunities to sabotage his career. The worst part was how reasonable it sounded when framed that way. I had been checking his LinkedIn obsessively. I did jump at the chance to contact Sarah when I saw his quantum dynamics post. From the outside, it probably did look like a calculated revenge plot. My phone rang again. Detective Patel. Ms. Rodriguez, we need you to come in for an interview this afternoon. Mr. Chen's attorney has made some serious allegations about your motivations, and we need to get your side of the story before we proceed with charges. What kind of allegations? That you've been harassing Mr. Chen for 2 years, that you fabricated evidence about his educational background, and that you initiated this complaint solely to damage his reputation in retaliation for your failed romantic relationship. I closed my eyes. Even facing federal wire fraud charges, Marcus was still managing to make me the villain. The detective interview was scheduled for 3 p.m., which gave me exactly 4 hours to figure out how to prove I wasn't a stalker ex-girlfriend who'd fabricated evidence to destroy an innocent man's life. I spent 3 of those hours pacing my apartment and stress-eating Priya's leftover bagels while she helped me organize every piece of documentation I had. Okay, she said, spreading printed photos across my coffee table like some kind of evidence board. Marcus at SF State graduation, May 18, 2019. Marcus with his business school study group, March 2019. Screenshots of his old LinkedIn profile from 2021 that shows SF State, before he changed it to Berkeley. Wait. I stopped mid-pace. How do you have screenshots of his old LinkedIn from 2021? Priya's cheeks flushed pink. I may have kept tabs on him after you guys broke up. Just to make sure he wasn't bothering you or spreading more lies about you being crazy. You've been monitoring my ex-boyfriend's social media for 2 years? Not monitoring. Just occasional check-ins. The point is, I have proof that he changed his education history sometime between March 2021 and January 2022. That's way before you found out about quantum dynamics. I stared at the screenshots. There it was in black and white, Marcus Chen, Business Administration, San Francisco State University. Then 6 months later, the same profile listed Computer Science, UC Berkeley. The timestamps were clear, undeniable proof that he'd systematically constructed his fake credentials. Priya, this is huge. This shows premeditation, not some panicked mistake. There's more. She pulled out her phone, looking almost guilty. After the TechCrunch article came out this morning, I did some digging. Marcus isn't the only one. She showed me a Reddit thread titled Anyone Else Suspicious About Marcus Chen from Nexus? The post was from someone with the username techbro_burnout who claimed to work at Marcus's previous company, TechFlow Solutions. Asterisk, this guy was supposedly our senior Python developer, but I never saw him write a single line of code. He was always in meetings or architecting high-level solutions while the rest of us did the actual programming. We all just assumed he was management track, but now seeing this Nexus stuff. I'm wondering if he fooled TechFlow too, asterisk. The comments were brutal. Other TechFlow employees confirming that Marcus had never seemed to actually code anything. Someone mentioning that their machine learning project had mysteriously failed right after Marcus left the company. Another person saying they'd always wondered how someone so young had gotten hired as a senior developer. Emma, look at this comment from 4 hours ago. Asterisk update, just got off a call with TechFlow CTO. They're launching their own investigation. Apparently Marcus's revolutionary recommendation algorithm that he put on his resume was actually built by an intern named David Kim, but Marcus took full credit when David left for Google asterisk. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, asterisk this is David Kim, former TechFlow intern. Saw the Reddit thread. I have documentation proving Marcus stole credit for my machine learning work. DM me if you want copies, asterisk. Jesus, I whispered. This is so much bigger than just a fake degree. Priya was already typing on her laptop. There are more people coming forward. Look, someone from his college says Marcus tried to hire them to do his computer science homework in 2018, before he even graduated with his business degree. Someone else says he approached them about buying a fake Berkeley transcript. The scope of Marcus's deception was staggering. This wasn't just resume embellishment or imposter syndrome, it was systematic, calculated fraud spanning years. He'd stolen other people's work, fabricated an entire educational background, and defrauded multiple companies out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. But even with all this evidence piling up, I couldn't shake the image of Jessica's pregnancy test or Marcus's desperate voice saying his kid would grow up without a father's career. The rational part of my brain knew that wasn't my responsibility, but the guilt was eating me alive. My laptop chimed with an email from Detective Patel, asterisk Ms. Rodriguez, new evidence has come to light that may impact this afternoon's interview. We're rescheduling for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please bring all documentation we discussed, asterisk. New evidence. That could mean anything from more victims coming forward to Marcus's lawyer digging up dirt on me that would paint me as an obsessed stalker. At 2:47 p.m., my phone rang with a call that changed everything. Emma Rodriguez? This is Amanda Foster, investigative journalist with the San Francisco Chronicle. I'm working on a follow-up story about the Marcus Chen case, and I understand you were the whistleblower who exposed his fraudulent credentials. I can't really comment on an ongoing investigation. Ms. Rodriguez, I think you should know. We've discovered that you're not Marcus Chen's first victim. What do you mean, first victim? I gripped the phone tighter, my heart hammering against my ribs. We've been investigating Marcus Chen's employment history since the TechCrunch story broke, Amanda Foster continued. Your name came up in connection with a previous incident at his first tech job in 2020. A woman named Rachel Winters tried to report him for credential fraud at a startup called Innovate Tech, but her complaints were dismissed. The name didn't ring any bells, but something cold settled in my stomach. Dismissed how? According to our sources, MS. Winters dated Marcus briefly in early 2020, right around the time he started at Innovate Tech. When she discovered he was lying about his technical background, she reported it to HR. But Marcus convinced the company that she was an unstable ex trying to sabotage him out of jealousy. The room started spinning. I sank onto my couch, Priya immediately moving to sit beside me. Innovate Tech's CEO told us off the record that Marcus was very convincing. Brought in character witnesses, showed them text messages where Rachel had allegedly threatened to ruin his career after their breakup. The company decided she was vindictive and dropped the investigation entirely. Oh my god. The words came out as barely a whisper. Where is Rachel now? That's the thing, Ms. Rodriguez. After Innovate Tech dismissed her complaints, Rachel's professional reputation was destroyed. Marcus and his character witnesses painted her as an obsessed stalker who couldn't handle rejection. She was a junior developer at a small firm, and word got around the tech community pretty fast. She left the Bay Area in late 2020 and hasn't worked in tech since. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Marcus hadn't just gaslit me, he perfected the technique on another woman first. And when Rachel tried to expose him, he destroyed her career so thoroughly that she'd fled the entire industry. Ms. Rodriguez? Are you still there? I'm here. How did you find out about this? Rachel reached out to us after seeing your story. She's been following the case and wanted to make sure you knew you weren't alone. She also has documentation, text messages, emails, recordings of her conversations with Innovate Tech's HR department. Recordings. I straightened up suddenly. What kind of recordings? Phone calls where Marcus explicitly admits to lying about his degree but claims he was learning on the job. Conversations with HR where he systematically dismantles Rachel's credibility by portraying her as emotionally unstable and obsessed with him. The parallels were terrifying. The fake degree, the technical incompetence, the girlfriend who discovered the truth, the calculated campaign to destroy her credibility. Marcus hadn't just used the same playbook on me, he'd refined it. There's something else, Amanda continued. We tracked down the intern who actually built those algorithms Marcus claimed credit for. David Kim is willing to go on record. He says Marcus threatened to get him blacklisted from tech companies if he ever disputed the authorship of his work. Priya was frantically taking notes on a napkin, her eyes wide with shock. Ms. Rodriguez, I think Marcus Chen isn't just a resume fraud case. This looks like a pattern of systematic manipulation and career sabotage spanning multiple victims over several years. Would you be willing to speak with Rachel? She specifically asked if she could talk to you. I looked at Priya, who was nodding emphatically. Yes, I said. I want to talk to her. I'll put you in touch. And Ms. Rodriguez? Rachel wanted me to tell you something. She said to trust your instincts. Everything you're feeling right now, the guilt, the second guessing, the fear that maybe you're the crazy one, she felt exactly the same thing. But you did something she couldn't do. You got people to listen. After Amanda hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Marcus hadn't just betrayed me, he'd systematically destroyed at least one other woman's life and career using the exact same tactics. The pregnancy guilt trip, the character assassination, the legal threats. It was all part of a calculated pattern. My phone buzzed with a new email. Rachel Winters, subject line, we need to talk. Asterisk Emma, I hope Amanda explained why I'm reaching out. I've been following your story since it broke, and I need you to know that everything you're feeling right now is exactly what Marcus wants you to feel. The guilt, the second guessing, the fear that you've gone too far, it's all part of his playbook. Asterisk. Asterisk I have recordings of him admitting he never attended UC Berkeley, never took a computer science class, and specifically chose to date women in tech because we'd be useful for his career advancement. He told Innovate Tech's HR director that I was emotionally unstable and had threatened to destroy him professionally because I couldn't handle being dumped. Asterisk. Asterisk the truth is, I never threatened him. I just asked too many questions about why he couldn't explain basic programming concepts he claimed to be an expert in. Asterisk. Asterisk can we talk today? I'm driving up from LA specifically to meet with the Chronicle and the DA's office tomorrow. I think there are things you need to know before your detective interview. Asterisk. Rachel. Asterisk P.S. Don't believe anything about Jessica being pregnant. He told me the exact same story about his ex-girlfriend Sarah when I started questioning his credentials. Same timeline, same guilt trip, same emotional manipulation. Asterisk. I read the email 3 times before the last paragraph fully sank in. Priya, I said slowly, what if Jessica isn't actually pregnant? What do you mean? I showed her Rachel's email. Marcus told Rachel that his previous girlfriend was pregnant and I was going to destroy his unborn child's future. Same story, different woman. Priya's eyes widened. You think he's lying about Jessica being pregnant? Or he convinced Jessica to lie for him? I pulled up Jessica's Instagram again, studying her recent posts with new eyes. Cabo vacation last month, she'd been drinking margaritas in every photo. Spinning class check-ins from this week. A wine tasting event from last weekend where she was clearly holding a full glass. Look at these timestamps, I said, showing Priya the screen. The wine tasting was Saturday night. The pregnancy test photo she sent me was dated Sunday morning. You don't go wine tasting when you're 8 weeks pregnant. My phone rang immediately. Rachel Winters, calling from the email address. Emma? Thank God you responded. Listen, I'm parked outside the Chronicle offices right now, and I just got the most disturbing call. What kind of call? Marcus Chen's attorney contacted me an hour ago. They know I'm talking to reporters, and they're threatening to sue me for defamation if I share my recordings publicly. But here's the thing, they also offered me money. They offered you money to stay quiet? $50,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement and disappear back to LA without talking to the police or the press. Emma, they're panicking. Marcus knows that if both of us go on record, his pattern of behavior becomes undeniable. I felt a surge of vindication mixed with terror. Marcus wasn't just fighting fraud charges anymore, he was trying to buy his way out of a federal investigation. Are you going to take it? Rachel's laugh was bitter. $50,000 doesn't even cover what I lost when I had to leave tech and start over as a freelance graphic designer. Besides, there's something else. Amanda Foster found a third victim. A third woman? Sophie Martinez. She worked at TechFlow Solutions while Marcus was there. She never dated him, but she tried to report that he was stealing her code and passing it off as his own work. Guess what happened to her complaint? I closed my eyes, already knowing the answer. They dismissed it. Worse. Marcus convinced management that Sophie was trying to sabotage him because he'd rejected her romantic advances. She got transferred to a different team, then laid off 6 months later. She's been working customer service at a call center ever since. 3 women. 3 careers damaged or destroyed because Marcus Chen couldn't handle being exposed for the fraud he was. The scope of it was staggering. Emma, we have a choice here. We can let him buy his way out of this, or we can make sure no other woman ever has to go through what we did. My laptop chimed with breaking news alert. Asterisk, Nexus Dynamics stock drops 12% as AI fraud investigation expands. SEC opens inquiry into company's due diligence practices. Asterisk. This was spiraling far beyond Marcus's personal crimes. An entire publicly traded company was now under federal investigation because of the lies I'd helped expose. Rachel, I said, I think we're way past the point of backing down now. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing incessantly with notifications. Half asleep, I grabbed it expecting more journalist calls or legal threats. Instead, I found 17 missed calls from Sarah Martinez. My stomach dropped as I listened to her voicemail, left at 6:23 a.m. Emma, call me immediately. Something's happened with the Marcus Chen situation that changes everything. The FBI raided Nexus Dynamics at dawn this morning, and Marcus has disappeared. His apartment is empty and Jessica posted on Instagram that she's taking a mental health break in Europe. Call me. I sat up so fast I got dizzy. The FBI? Marcus had disappeared? I called Sarah back with shaking fingers. Emma, thank God, she answered on the first ring. Are you somewhere safe? Safe? What do you mean safe? I'm in my apartment. The FBI thinks Marcus might try to contact you or the other women who exposed him. Agent Torres wants to speak with you this morning. Emma, this isn't just about resume fraud anymore. Before I could ask what she meant, my laptop started chiming with news alerts. I opened Chrome to find my worst nightmare splashed across every tech publication. Nexus Dynamics CEO arrested in $50 million AI contract fraud scheme. Missing tech worker Marcus Chen linked to international money laundering operation. FBI, Bay Area AI fraud case connected to offshore cryptocurrency scheme. Sarah, I whispered, what the fuck is happening? According to Agent Torres, Marcus wasn't just stealing algorithms and lying about degrees. He was selling Nexus's proprietary AI models to overseas competitors. The machine learning project that failed last month? It didn't fail. Marcus deliberately sabotaged it after copying the core technology and selling it to a Chinese firm for $3 million. My vision started tunneling. $3 million? The FBI thinks he's been planning this escape for months. The fake credentials, the systematic discrediting of women who got too close to the truth, it was all a cover while he positioned himself to steal and sell Nexus's most valuable intellectual property. I stumbled to my kitchen and turned on the coffee maker with trembling hands. This couldn't be real. Marcus was a manipulative asshole and a career fraud, but industrial espionage? International money laundering? Emma, there's more. Jessica Chen, yes, Chen, they apparently got married in Vegas 3 weeks ago, maxed out credit cards and emptied their joint bank accounts before flying to Amsterdam yesterday. Her Instagram post about needing mental health time in Europe was posted from a coffee shop in Prague. Wait, they're married? And her last name is Chen now? The FBI thinks Jessica was in on it. The pregnancy story, the guilt trips, the social media posts about Marcus being a devoted boyfriend, it was all theater to make him seem like a stable family man while he committed federal crimes. My phone started buzzing with an incoming call. Unknown international number. Sarah, someone's calling me from overseas. Do not answer that. Emma, I'm serious. Agent Torres said Marcus has been using burner phones to contact people. They think he's trying to gauge how much evidence the FBI has. But I was already staring at a text message that had just appeared on my screen. Asterisk Emma, this is Marcus. I know you hate me, but I need you to know the truth. Jessica forced me into this. She threatened to destroy my life if I didn't help her steal the Nexus data. I'm not the mastermind here, I'm another victim. Please don't let them paint me as the villain when the real criminal is sitting in a 5-star hotel in Prague spending millions in stolen money. Asterisk. He's texting me, I told Sarah. He's claiming Jessica was the mastermind. Emma, hang up and call Agent Torres right now. That number is 415-555-0847. Don't respond to Marcus, don't engage with any international calls, and whatever you do, don't believe a word he says. After hanging up with Sarah, I stared at Marcus's text message. Even running from federal agents in some European hiding spot, he was still trying to manipulate me. Still trying to make himself the victim and some woman the villain. But as I got dressed to meet with the FBI, one thought kept nagging at me, what if this time, he was actually telling the truth? The FBI field office in downtown San Francisco felt like something out of a movie, all glass walls, fluorescent lighting, and the kind of institutional carpet that screamed federal building. Agent Torres was younger than I'd expected, maybe mid-30s, with tired eyes that suggested she'd been working this case around the clock. Ms. Rodriguez, thank you for coming in on short notice. She gestured to a conference room where another agent was setting up recording equipment. I need to ask you about your communication with Marcus Chen yesterday morning. I handed over my phone, showing her the text about Jessica being the mastermind. He sent this after I talked to Sarah Martinez. I didn't respond. Agent Torres studied the message, then looked up at me with an expression I couldn't read. What's your impression of Marcus Chen's technical capabilities? In your personal experience, could he have executed the kind of sophisticated data theft we're investigating? Honestly? The Marcus I knew couldn't figure out how to update his iPhone without help. But that was 2 years ago, and apparently he managed to fake his way through multiple engineering positions. That's what's bothering us, the other agent said, introducing himself as Agent Kim. The Nexus breach required advanced knowledge of their security protocols, database architecture, and encryption methods. Even if Chen learned basic coding, this was graduate-level computer science. Agent Torres pulled out a thick folder and spread several documents across the table. Bank records, flight itineraries, hotel receipts. Jessica Chen, formerly Jessica Walsh, has a master's degree in computer science from Stanford. She graduated summa cum laude in 2020 with a specialization in cybersecurity. My stomach dropped. Cybersecurity? She's been working remotely for a cryptocurrency startup in Singapore while maintaining a cover story about being a struggling graduate student. Her actual salary is $240,000 annually. Agent Torres pointed to a bank statement. The money Marcus was supposedly earning to support her? She was actually out-earning him by a factor of 3. The pieces started clicking together with sickening clarity. Jessica hadn't been the naive girlfriend of a successful tech worker. She'd been the successful tech worker, using Marcus as a front to gain access to companies she wanted to infiltrate. We think Jessica recruited Marcus specifically because of his willingness to fabricate credentials, Agent Kim continued. She needed someone already comfortable with fraud, someone who could get hired at target companies while she worked behind the scenes. But why not just get legitimate jobs herself? With her actual skills? Because Jessica Walsh has been on Interpol's watch list since 2019 for cryptocurrency fraud in 3 different countries. She couldn't pass a standard background check, but Marcus Chen could. Agent Torres opened another file. We've traced cryptocurrency transactions totaling $847,000 from Marcus's accounts to offshore wallets controlled by Jessica. The pattern suggests he was being paid to steal specific proprietary algorithms, not just embellishing his resume for career advancement. I thought about Marcus's desperate phone call, his claims about learning machine learning on nights and weekends. So when he told me he'd taught himself to code, he probably had help. Jessica likely fed him just enough technical knowledge to avoid suspicion while she did the actual work remotely. Agent Kim pulled up email logs on his laptop. We found evidence that Jessica was logging into Marcus's work computer after hours using remote access software. She was literally doing his job while he attended meetings and played the part of senior engineer. Jesus Christ. I slumped back in my chair. She played all of us. Including Marcus, we think. The pregnancy story, the marriage in Vegas, the guilt trip about destroying his family. Our behavioral analyst believes Jessica was manipulating Marcus just as much as he was manipulating you and the other victims. Agent Torres leaned forward. Ms. Rodriguez, we need your help. Marcus has been trying to contact several people since he disappeared, including you, Rachel Winters, and Sophie Martinez. We think he's genuinely panicking because he's realizing how completely Jessica used him. You want me to talk to him? We want you to consider it. If Marcus believes Jessica set him up to take the fall while she escapes with millions in stolen cryptocurrency, he might be willing to cooperate with our investigation. My phone buzzed with another international call. This time, Agent Torres nodded for me to answer it, quickly connecting recording equipment to my phone. Emma? Marcus's voice was strained, barely recognizable. Thank God. I'm in Berlin and I don't know who else to call. Jessica left me here with nothing. The credit cards are maxed, the bank accounts are empty, and there are men watching my hotel who definitely aren't German tourists. I looked at Agent Torres, who was frantically taking notes. Marcus, where's Jessica now? I don't know. She said she was going to Prague, but the hotel there has no record of her checking in. Emma, I think I'm in serious danger. Marcus, listen to me very carefully, I said, watching Agent Torres scribble notes across the table. Are you saying Jessica abandoned you in Berlin? She took a separate flight 3 days ago. Said she needed to secure our future and would meet me at the Hotel Augustus in Prague. But when I got there yesterday, they'd never heard of Jessica Chen or Jessica Walsh. His voice cracked. Emma, I found something in her laptop bag before she left. Screenshots of bank transfers I never authorized. She's been moving money out of accounts I didn't even know existed. Agent Torres held up a note, asterisk keep him talking. Location details, asterisk. What kind of accounts, Marcus? Cryptocurrency wallets, offshore banking stuff I don't understand. There's over $2 million missing, Emma. Money that was supposedly our nest egg for the baby and the new life we were planning in Europe. I almost laughed at the absurdity. There is no baby, Marcus. Rachel Winters told me you used the exact same pregnancy story with her 3 years ago. Silence stretched across the international connection. When Marcus spoke again, his voice was barely a whisper. Rachel said what? The pregnant girlfriend whose future I was destroying? You ran that exact same guilt trip on her when she tried to expose your fake degree at Innovate Tech. Same timeline, same emotional manipulation. That's impossible. Sarah was actually pregnant, Emma. I saw the ultrasound photos. Agent Torres was frantically writing, asterisk he believes the pregnancy stories? Possible Jessica showed him fabricated evidence, asterisk. Marcus, what was the name of Sarah's doctor? What hospital was she using? Another long pause. Jessica handled all the medical appointments. Said she wanted to keep the stress level low because of complications with the pregnancy. My heart sank as I realized the scope of Jessica's manipulation. She hadn't just used Marcus to steal corporate secrets, she'd constructed an entire fake reality around him, complete with fabricated pregnancies, forged medical documents, and elaborate cover stories. Marcus, I need you to think carefully. Did you ever actually meet any doctors? See any real medical records that weren't just photos Jessica showed you? Oh my God. His breathing became rapid, panicked. The ultrasound photos. They had different names on them. Jessica said it was because she was using her maiden name for insurance purposes, but... Emma, what if none of it was real? Agent Torres slid another note across the table, ask about the men watching him. Marcus, you said there are men watching your hotel. What do they look like? Eastern European, maybe Russian. They've been in the lobby for 2 days, taking shifts. One of them followed me to a cafe yesterday and sat close enough to overhear my phone calls. His voice dropped to a whisper. Emma, I think Jessica sold information about my location to people who are very unhappy about the missing cryptocurrency. Agent Kim looked up from his laptop with alarm. Ms. Rodriguez, we need to get him out of there immediately. Marcus, listen to me. You need to get to the US Embassy in Berlin right now. Don't pack anything, don't check out of your hotel. Just leave through a back exit if there is one and get to the embassy. The embassy? Emma, I'll be arrested the moment I walk in there. You'll be arrested eventually anyway, but at least you'll be alive. Marcus, Jessica didn't just steal from Nexus Dynamics. The FBI thinks she's been running cryptocurrency scams across multiple countries. If she borrowed money from the wrong people to fund this operation. She's left me holding the bag. His voice turned bitter. Again. Just like she did with the Nexus algorithms. I thought I was learning to code, but she was remotely accessing my work computer every night, doing all the actual programming while I took credit for it during meetings. Agent Torres was nodding vigorously, making rapid notes. Marcus, the FBI wants to help you, but you need to surrender voluntarily. If those men in your hotel lobby are who we think they are, you have maybe hours before this gets a lot worse. The line went quiet except for the sound of Marcus's ragged breathing. Emma, if I cooperate with the FBI, will you tell them that I'm not the mastermind here? That I was manipulated just like you were? I looked at Agent Torres, who nodded slowly. I'll tell them everything I know, Marcus. But you need to get to that embassy right now. The call ended abruptly, leaving me staring at the federal agents across the table. Do you think he'll make it? I asked. Agent Torres was already on her radio, speaking rapidly in law enforcement codes I didn't understand. We're about to find out. 3 months later, I walked into Quantum Dynamics' sleek Palo Alto offices for my first day as senior AI ethics developer. The irony wasn't lost on me, I'd gotten my dream job through the most twisted path imaginable. Marcus had made it to the US Embassy in Berlin with 20 minutes to spare. The man watching his hotel turned out to be cryptocurrency investors from a Ukrainian syndicate that Jessica had defrauded out of $3.2 million. He was extracted by embassy security, flown back to San Francisco, and immediately entered witness protection in exchange for full cooperation with the FBI's international fraud investigation. Jessica was arrested in Monaco 3 weeks ago, trying to board a yacht owned by a shell company linked to North Korean cryptocurrency laundering. She's facing extradition to the U.S. on 47 federal charges, including industrial espionage, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The total damages exceeded $50 million across 6 companies in 4 countries. The sweetest part? When the FBI raided Jessica's Prague safe deposit box, they found detailed files on 12 other men she'd recruited for similar schemes. Marcus wasn't her first mark, he was just the most successful one until I brought the whole operation crashing down. Rachel Winters got hired as a senior developer at a fintech startup in Austin, with the CEO personally apologizing for the industry's failure to take her complaints seriously. Sophie Martinez landed a machine learning role at Tesla after her stolen code helped convict Marcus and Jessica. David Kim, the intern whose algorithms Marcus had claimed credit for, received a $100,000 whistleblower reward from the SEC. But the real satisfaction came from watching the dominoes fall in ways I never could have imagined. Marcus's testimony revealed that Jessica had been running identical schemes at tech companies across Silicon Valley, using different manipulated boyfriends to gain access to proprietary AI research. The FBI estimates she stole over $200 million in intellectual property before I accidentally triggered their investigation by checking LinkedIn on a random Sunday morning. Marcus pled guilty to conspiracy charges and received 18 months in minimum security federal prison, plus 5 years probation. His sentencing hearing was surreal, watching him apologize to a courtroom full of his victims while genuinely seeming to understand, maybe for the first time, how completely Jessica had manipulated all of us. Your Honor, he'd said, looking directly at me in the gallery, I spent 2 years convincing myself I was a victim of Emma Rodriguez's vindictive jealousy. The truth is, Emma saved my life. If she hadn't exposed my lies when she did, I would have continued being Jessica's unwitting accomplice until the Ukrainian syndicate decided I was more useful as an example than as a witness. The judge sentenced him to the minimum possible time, citing his cooperation and genuine remorse. As I settled into my new office overlooking the bay, I couldn't help but smile at the plaque Sarah Martinez had left on my desk, Emma Rodriguez, Senior AI Ethics Developer, Defender Against Technical Fraud. My first project was developing algorithms to detect resume fraud and credential manipulation in tech hiring. The software would flag suspicious patterns like the ones Marcus had used, degree changes in professional profiles, technical claims inconsistent with work history, and references who couldn't verify educational backgrounds. It felt like perfect karma. Jessica's elaborate scheme to steal AI technology would ultimately result in AI technology that prevented future Jessica Chins from victimizing anyone else. My phone buzzed with a text from Priya, *, saw the TechCrunch article about your new anti-fraud AI. The headline is perfect. Woman who exposed $50 million tech fraud now builds tools to catch future fraudsters. How's that for sweet revenge, *? I looked out at the San Francisco skyline and typed back, the sweetest.